Let's just start with the payrolls report, and I would love just to get your initial reaction to a big downside surprise, at least for many of the people on Wall Street.
Yeah, you know, we added 266,000 jobs this month. Under normal circumstances, that would be a great month. When you look at the last 3 months here in the United States, we've added an average of over 500,000 jobs per month. And that's a change from the previous 3 months where 60,000 jobs were added. We still have a steep climb. We still have ways to go. Another positive number here, two positive numbers, is that the leisure economy, which includes restaurants and travel, is up significantly as far as job gain, and more people looked for jobs in the month of April than the previous month. So we're seeing positive signs as we continue to move forward here.
Secretary Walsh, there seems to be a ton of demand. Everywhere you look, you see it in all the data points. The conversation we've had since 8:30 Eastern, as soon as this number dropped, is what is happening on the supply side, what is holding people back. Whether it's the PMI or the ISM data that we've seen earlier this week in America, the labour pool is tight. Labour's the biggest issue. Logistics and supply can't keep up. There's a labour shortage. In your opinion, in the administration's opinion, what do you think is holding back the labour market at the moment on the supply side, not on demand?
Well, I think what's happening is, in some areas, these industries have gone from 0 and they're ramping up to 100 overnight. And I think that, again, it's about getting people into these jobs. I think that's going to be key as we move forward here. I think that there are some barriers still. People still are concerned about the virus. We have issues around childcare. We have issues around schools are open in America, but some are hybrid where people are learning in person, some are learning outside. So we have issues around that. We also have the vaccine and making sure that people get vaccinated. So I think there's a little bit in different areas. One of the things that probably concerns me the most is that the communities of color unemployment rate is nearly double, well, not quite double, but it's higher than the unemployment rate is an average in the country, and those are numbers that really concern me, and also getting women back into the workforce. So I still think there's lots happening here, and I think as we get through the next month or so, we will start to see a lot of that clarity happening, where people will be going back into the workforce in bigger numbers as we move forward.
You're well aware of what the governors of Montana and South Carolina think of the additional unemployment benefits, and for the benefit of our audience, Secretary Walsh, I'm going to read out some of the quotes just to get your reaction to them. The vast expansion of federal unemployment benefits is now doing more harm than good. That was the Montana governor earlier this week. The governor of South Carolina saying what was intended to be a short-term financial assistance for the vulnerable and displaced during the height of the pandemic has turned into a dangerous federal entitlement. That's the talking points coming from the governor of Montana and South Carolina, and elsewhere in the country too, and in part on Wall Street from some of the economists as well. I haven't heard the administration's response to that. Secretary Walsh, what is your reaction to their take on the situation?
My reaction is we still have millions of Americans that are out of work. We still have millions of Americans worried about putting food on the table, paying their mortgages, paying their rents, keeping their families moving forward. And there's still concern here. There's been lots of industry as well in this country that have disappeared. Businesses and companies that people work for disappeared during this pandemic. So again, we still, as I mentioned earlier, we still have a steep hill to climb, and we're going to continue to climb that hill as we move forward here. And can hopefully work to get every American who wants to work back to work. And that's the goal of the president. That was the goal of the American Rescue Plan. That's the goal of the administration. That's my goal here at the Department of Labor, to continue to add those numbers and get people back, get the economy continuing moving forward.
People won't be surprised that that's your position. And often when someone comes on a program like this, Secretary, I will say to them, how will you know if you're wrong? And when we look at the additional $300 a week in unemployment benefits that run through September, how would you know if you're wrong? The childcare issue is clearly an issue. And I mentioned earlier this morning that anyone who was brought up by a single parent understands that issue, that if the school is closed, there's a problem getting back to work. That's plain and simple. It's very clear. But for you, sir, how would you know if you were wrong, that the more complete picture actually has something to do with the additional unemployment benefits?
I mean, I think I talk to the American people every day, and when I'm out talking to people, I mean, there's concerns with childcare, there's concerns with education, as far as schools not being open. There's also concerns with people's personal health. They're concerned about the virus, they're concerned about their family. There's concern there, and I'm not saying that's the only reasons. But you know, when I think about the unemployment, thank God we had unemployment. because of what the economy would have happened to the economy if we didn't have the unemployment insurance program during the CARES Act when they gave additional $600, and during the rescue plan where it's $300. It's significantly less than what it was under the first plan that went through Congress. And again, as we think about recovering, I'm not focusing on unemployment. I'm not focused on unemployment benefits. I'm focusing on how do we get these sectors opened up again. And we're working to make sure these sectors are opening up. That's what the president's focused on. That's what his team is focused on, making sure that we open up these sectors. And again, there's some good highlights and bright spots in this report today. We're seeing the retail sector picking up. So again, to answer your question, how do I know? I'm not sure. I guess I can give you an accurate answer other than saying that unemployment is important right now still in America for too many Americans.
The governors of Montana and of South Carolina are looking to remove these benefits. I don't think it would surprise anyone if other states followed in the weeks to come. Have you spoken to them, Secretary Walsh? Have you talked to them this week?
No, I haven't talked to them yet. I know they've been having contacts with different people in the administration, I believe. The unemployment rate in Montana is about 3.5%, which is significantly less than what we're talking about today in the country, which is over 6%. So again, every state has different factors, and they're in different spaces. So there's different reasons for people concerns. If you look at the state of Massachusetts, or you look at the state of New York, or you look at California, other places, the unemployment rates are higher in those places, because a lot of those industries are still just coming back. So you can't compare it's apples to oranges, not apples to apples.
Well, do you think it's apples to oranges to allow each and every state to have these same additional unemployment benefits? And next time around, Secretary Walsh, do you think we need to rethink how we distribute some of those benefits?
Well, I think in the American Rescue Plan, the one thing that's in there is a $2 billion investment for us to look at the UI system. And I think that that's something that the pandemic has showed us, is that we have an opportunity right now to look at what worked, what didn't work, and how do we strengthen the system for the country and for individual states and territories in this country.